Okay, I'll give it a go. Good luck. And if this is going to be a big problem,
then call me. If you can't get on, then just call me. I have the mic set up.
Like I say, why don't you just...
Oh, I see ya.
I'm sorry, what?
I see you on the platform. All right, now click on just so I'm sending you an invite as a speaker, so click on accept.
My fault.
No, you're good. So you're on the platform now. Click over to join as speaker.
Click join the speaker.
Yes.
Where is that?
Hey, Ron.
Hello.
Where on your screen does it say join as speaker?
Right on the right hand side. I'm
Lower
already
or upper?
on, so let me
Lower or upper?
no, kind of in the middle. There'll be like names, like it says Mary and Ron, co-host speakers. It's right under there. I'd have to get out to get back in to see it, but it's on the right hand side. Sometimes, and then underneath there it says something about
Did you hear that, Len?
I heard of it. I'm looking for it. I can't see any of it.
All right, not a big deal. We'll just do it this way.
Okay. Here, you can sit.
Brass shines bright like morning sun. Drums roll out a victory run. Strings rise up with courage hung. Trumpets call the brave to stand, echoing across the land. Saxophones in harmony salute the noble and the free. Heroes march, their hearts ablaze, through every trial, through every maze. Unveiling valor, bold and true. This melody's for me.
Wow. What a great salute to Captain Len Kaine and the rest of the heroes that we just applaud and recognize. My name is Ron Clayton. I'm your host for the Honorable and the incredible Captain Len Kaine, who has been recognized throughout the world for his endeavors and his successes as the original Top Gun. And I think even more important, although that's certainly being an outstanding fighter pilot in Vietnam, and then going on to be a squadron leader and a trainer, and then become a commercial pilot and flying people around the world. And then after his retirement from that, he founded the Golden Rule Society. And that organization, which we highlight today on the Golden Rule Society show that we have today, and the Hope Collection Optimize My Life show, we have Len Kaine featured as a 5-time nominee for a Nobel Peace Prize. And the reason for that is his work. His real name today has evolved into Captain Kindness. Len Kaine and created the kindness campaign that's sweeping the nation. We're working to solve in schools, churches, communities, everywhere to make this a better world. And Captain Len, you are our hero. Thank you.
Well, Ron, God bless you out there. And I hope that your health is back to 100% or more. And ladies and gentlemen, we all want to wish you that you and hope that you had a wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving with your family, your friends, your neighbors, your church, and your charities. Because that's why we're here, to help make it a better world. And being the founder of the Golden Rule Society charity, I'd like to stress one particular point. We're not selling anything. We have people who are wanting to make donations to us, and that's fine. But we always encourage them to say, if you want to make a donation, make it to your church or your charity that you work with. That way they know who you are, you know who they're, everybody's happy. But we legally, ethically, morally, we can handle people who do make their gifts to make a donation. And what we do is we give the donations to people in need here, there, and everywhere. That's one of the nicest things that we can do. Be courteous, be kind, say wonderful words, and help make it a better world. And Mary Stanley, who's one of our senior advisors, along with Mr. Ron Clayton, who came aboard, two wonderful people with wonderful family and friends. And we had as many as 24 senior advisors in our Golden Rule Society charity. And I kept telling people that any one of them does something exceptionally good, I'm going to say, Charlie, I'm going to double your salary. And they all remind me straight away. They say, Len, 2 times nothing is still nothing. So we just convince everybody we're all non-paid volunteers trying to help make it a better world. And we have so many things to add to this program that are going to knock your socks off. And what I like to do is invite you to get yourself a piece of paper and a nice pen or pencil and take some notes that are going to be beneficial to you. And whatever we give to you today, you can share with your family, your friends, your neighbors, your church, or your charities, whoever you want to do it. And the nice part about it is a lot of people tell me, they said, hey, if this is such a good deal, I'm going to hang up and call my friends, family, and whoever and tell them, come on board. Because this program is just super duper. And it's part of the Golden Rule Society charity. And we put it together 53 years ago. We've been helping to make it a better world. And as Ron very graciously said, I've only got 5 nominations for the Nobel Peace Prize. And in 2014 was number 2 in the world for the Nobel Peace Prize. And that's the way it goes. We just keep doing the best we can with what we have. And as long as it's helping others, that's why we're here. We're here to serve. God bless, now and always. There you go. And Ron, it's just a courtesy and a kindness that you plugged us in today, having little problems with the computer. So when you come on, you just invite me, bring me in. And that's the nice part about it. And we're going to continue with telling people all the nice things that we have available to them. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I told you if you have a pen and a pencil, and if you're ready to go, I want you to write this down. It's very simple, and you know how it goes. www.goldenrulesociety.org. That's our website. And all you need to do is go there. And when you open it up, you'll find that the most popular item in the website is discounts on travel. Now, if you want to fly from New York to California or vice versa, and you want to go, you can call that, look at it, and if they have seats available on the flight, they offer them to you. I have no control over who what gets or not, because the airlines themselves, if they have empty seats, they would rather have somebody in there to be entertained, taken care of, get where they're going as their destination. So, and what you can do is tell others about what you're doing and how it's available to you. And you know how it goes. Our Golden Rule Society is a place to start. And it's just wonderful. As I say, we've been doing this for 53 years. And everybody said, how did you get into this? Because, ladies and gentlemen, I was a coal miner's kid from Scranton, Pennsylvania, that area. And after high school, off I went to the Navy. Day after that I graduated. And it was super duper. But before I left, my mother said something to me as I was reaching for my luggage, my bag to go on it up to the Navy boot camp, they call it. And she said, Len, I want you to write this down, or just remember this forever. She said, here it is. Wherever you go, whoever you meet, whatever you do, be kind. And ladies and gentlemen, those two words are in my heart, my soul, and my mind. And that's what we're doing, helping to make it a better world by just being kind. Now, years later, I added a couple different words to that. Not only be kind, but smile and be courteous and help the people be more successful however you can. And I grew up as a member of what was the Christ Episcopal Church in the Dixon City town, right near Scranton, Pennsylvania. And I grew up that way, constant in touch with all the wonderful teachings of the good Church of Christ Episcopal. And that's the nice part about it. And wouldn't you know, we now, after I finished my Navy career, we're living in Coronado, California. And it's right across the bridge from San Diego, California. And living here, we have our two sons that grew up here. We have two boys, as I said, and we were hoping for a little girl, so we said prayers to the good Lord and asking for a little girl. Well, he thought better of it. He says, I'm going to double you up. And he gave us identical twin daughters. So our family, two boys, 2 years apart, and the twin daughters. And the nice part about it, after the Navy career, which I was telling you about, that I was going to the boot camp, took the tests, and they said, hey, Len Kaine, you know what? You've qualified to have the equivalency of 2 years of college. And I said, I went to high school, never went to college. He said, but your questions and your answers, you have the equivalence of 2 years of college. I said, well, what does that mean? He said, well, what it means, very importantly, is that qualifies you to go take the exams to qualify yourself to go to the Navy Flight Training Program down in Pensacola, Florida. I said, I'd never heard about that program. Well, I took the test, and the next thing you know, I'm down in Pensacola, Florida, learning how to fly airplanes. It was magnificent, just super duper. And the nice part of it, when I was a kid, I was also a musician. I blew the clarinet and also the wonderful text machines. And anyway, all of that good stuff. And it was wonderful being in the Navy. And by the way, I ended up getting my wings. It was just 3 weeks or so before I became the age 20, because I was a teenage ensign with Navy wings of gold. Oh, beautiful. Clarinet, whatever stuff. Anyway, what I'm going to do with you, Ron, is take a little break and sip on my coffee and turn it over to you to carry on, and I'll be right back, ready to jump in. Please and thank you.
Len. Well, thank you so much, and thanks for sharing a little bit about the biography of the infamous and famous Captain Len Kaine. And some of the more, fill in some more parts to that story. You also, as you became a friend of Joel Griffin, the founder of the Hope Collection, you and he were on a worldwide show from a gentleman called Burl Walk. Him and his father are probably two of the most dynamic marketing people in the United States. They had a radio show called Burl's World, and that's where you and Joel met. And on that show, Burl would feature a lot of things that he had been involved in and program. He was committed to making this a better world. And a couple things that he created and outlined, him and his father founded the old TV Guide. This is going back in the 40s, 50s. In the 50s, the TV Guide became the number one published magazine in the world and world renowned. Then later, they became involved in some other areas. When television was evolving, there was a lot of dead space. There were only 3 channels anywhere in the whole United States. The 3 channels, ABC, NBC, and CBS, came under different names, but that was what they were. And there was a lot of dead space. Well, Burl Walk was a genius. And he early on bought up all the dead space and time. And so as the entertainment center of using television grew, there became this space to be used for promotion and advertising. And Burl was an expert. And what they created was something that became so famous called info commercials. And they were pioneers in creating info commercials. And one of the programs that he became and led was the development of the first $1 million seller producer of an info commercial, where they did a skit, and they did it for a company called Thigh Master. You remember Suzanne Summers, and that became a very popular product. And if I felt like I said, he also was involved with a guy named Ron Popeil, and he was a pocket fisherman, and just on and on and on and on. Many products over time. Burl Walk was in charge of, and you were a friend of his, and you helped expand, explore the Burl's world, and then eventually he had a radio show and television involved in many projects. and philanthropies. And that's where you and Joel put your heads together and created what out of that is this show. Burl was one of the pioneers in blog radios. Um, there are people that all over the country today and through the internet are producing shows. And rather than just going through television and through those medias, you can go directly to the computer and go around the world. We go to 96 countries, I believe. And so this program, what I'm so excited about is it's evolved at one time. Our Optimize Your Life show had a company that Burl founded that we had coupons, and they became so popular. Um, they was sold out to a very large company, RJ Reynolds, which actually took and created, and working again through Burl, they created barcoding for products. When you buy your can of tomato soup or loaf of bread or whatever at the store, there's a barcode. And on the barcode, they can track information on individuals, how much, not personal, just on information, blind numbers, but they were able to track product volumes and sold, and how it helps stores control their quantity of stock and how much and when they need and have it. And this now has evolved into QR. Now you have QR codes. Now you can put your phone up, take a picture of on television. You can see an ad and get all kinds of details. This information system, we're in the information age, was all pioneered with Burl, and Len was working with them. Then Burl brought to everybody a company, like a startup company, that now is world renowned, called Intiva Health, Intiva. And he'll let him tell a little bit more about the company, but I'm going to just mention that they have become recognized in the world as another number one supporter of medical support for the doctors and nurses, the medical field, documentations. He, the founder of the company, genius, Conjura, he actually developed a product that is now very popular and growing called blockchain communication. It's a system on the internet that is unbreakable and it can't be hacked. And the medical field is using it as well as into your health. They they also evolved, and now the United States government is using for safe communications the system, and it all evolved out of a gentleman that Len Kaine brought to the Golden Rule Society and the Optimize My Life Golden Rule Society and Hope Collection. Are you back, Len?
Yes, sir. I'm ready to jump in whenever you're ready to take care. All right.
I'm ready for you to jump in.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you something special about Mr. Ron Clayton. He is a super duper guy, and I have to mention a gentleman by the name of Joel Griffin. Joel Griffin was the individual. What a coincidence. He was from Pennsylvania, as I was. We never met in Pennsylvania. He graduated Penn State University. Brilliant man. And what a delightful personality. Tall, handsome, all that good stuff. But anyway, here's the thing that's just going to knock your socks off. Joel Griffin became a senior advisor to not one, not two, but three of our presidents in a row. They thought just he was great because he came in, just took care of everything for the presidents. And the second president said, "Hey, I want to keep somebody like this because he keeps the game going." And it was much marvelous. And when he retired, he heard about what I was doing with our Golden Rule Society charity. And he called on the phone and he said, "Len, I've been following what you guys are doing. He said, this is just super duper. And I'd like very much to be one of the senior advisors in the Golden Rule Society charity. And ladies and gentlemen, it took me almost a full second to say, welcome aboard. And he came, just did a wonderful, wonderful job. And his assistant in his organization was a gentleman by the name of Mr. Ron Clayton, who has a wonderful wife, Linda, and they're in the Buffalo, New York area. Wonderful people, wonderful family, terrific. And sadly, the story about Joel Griffin, the cancer got him. And the good Lord called him home, so he's up there in heaven with the good Lord. His wife and the children are still available, and we talk to them quite often. But Ron Clayton took over the job as the head of the organization, the Hope Collection. And that's why we're here, helping to make it a better world. And it's going gangbusters, helping everybody. However, we don't take advantage of anybody. Everybody's got to be part of the game with a simple goal, helping to make it a better world. Simply kindness. And we don't need to be fighting wars with one another, killing each other. This is a beautiful earth that we're on. Why don't we be kind? Why don't we help each other? And let me tell you about Mary Stanley. She has a lovely young daughter, goes to high school. Not quite high school. She was 7th grade, 8th grade, something like that. And she knew and heard from her mommy about the kindness clubs and all that sort of work we're doing here, there, and everywhere. And she asked her mom, why don't we have a kindness club in our classrooms? And Mary Stanley, not her mommy, called and said, what do you think about that? And I said, I never gave that a thought. We ought to do it. So instead of just having this sort of thing, listen to the radio or the television or whatever we're doing on the show, we said, let's put a kindness club in every school in the nation, the whole country, and the whole world. Because one responsibility, the kindness club guarantees that they will never interfere with the teachings that the teachers and the professors are doing for the education of the kids. That's fine. In other words, the children can be courteous and kind to one another, but never interfere with the teacher, what she's or he is teaching. It's a simple courtesy and kindness. And by the way, Mary Stanley, I think a week or so ago, they've got the kindness clubs are in the thousands. And it's not only in the schools, they're in the churches and the charities. Because they say, well, gee, this is pretty good. And it's and it benefits everybody. And this is what we want to do with the world. And as Ron mentioned earlier, I've only got 5 nominations for the Nobel Peace Prize. And in 2014, again, I was number 2 in the world. And that's the nice part about it. That when the people for people Nobel organization is over there in Europe, wonderful people. And they contacted me and told me I was number 2 in the world. And I said, oh, hey, because when I graduated, I was a Navy fighter pilot. I was the East Coast Top Gun and the All Navy Top Gun. And I said, So I don't want to be number 2 anymore. They laughed, and it was all in good fun. But it's still very nice feeling to know, yes, being recognized for helping to make it a better world by exuding with kindness everybody that I meet, everybody that I know, and they pass it on. Wherever you go, whatever you do, who you meet, be kind. And courtesy with a smile, it's just super duper. And we go. So, again, I'm going to give you the website. And Mr. Ron Clayton, he's one of our senior advisors in the Golden Rule Society as well, by the way. Wouldn't want to take anything away from him. Matter of fact, he invited me one time up to the naval base near their home in New York and Buffalo. So I went, and I was the guest speaker for it's the largest naval base in the United States. And there I was, speaking to this unlimited amount of people, parents, children, servicemen, servicewomen, everybody. And the nice part about it, we were talking about Mary Stanley's daughter. She and her brother, her younger brother, came with Mary to the naval station. And what they did, all the children brought little gifts. And the gift was of a stick about maybe 6 inches high with an American flag on it. And what the children were doing through the entire base, where there were plenty of places where the people who were heroes either died by service in their defending our countries, but they were passed off and they were being in their own service. I mean, anyway, I'm getting emotional. But what the girls were doing, and the other children, that every person was buried, they put a little flag on the birthday. I mean, where they were buried. As I said, I'm getting emotional because it tugs at the heartstrings. But the kids did it. They were wonderful. And we met again, and then Mary Stanley heard about what we're doing with the Golden Rule Society, and she said, I'd like to be a member, as Ron Clayton wanted to be a member. And like I said, we have about 24 of these senior advisors. Wonderful people, men and women. But the point is, those children are now, we have a program that Mary Stanley put together. She's incredible, brilliant lady. She served in the military and was just exceptional. And when she retired or finished with the Navy, or the military, I should say, I was the one in the Navy. I was the Navy fighter pilot. But anyway, she came aboard and is the manager now, unpaid, taking care of the Golden Rule Society's worldwide kindness campaign. It's amazing. And it's going to be in another day or so, then we have this program that's going out to the entire world. We're going to send it to everybody we know, every organizations that's supporting the military, supporting the people who are the whatever they are, even the people that are the police, or we're just helping to make it a nice place to live. Courtesy, kindness, that's what it's all about. So that's what we're doing. We're giving it to every person who wants to participate in it, because we're sending it to everybody. So here it is. If you like what you hear and really like what you see and the opportunities to be more successful in your life, just share that with everybody in your church, in your charity, your neighborhood, family, anybody, because there's no strings attached. And everybody's happy. They said, hey, well, this makes a lot of sense. This is why we have the kindness clubs that are into the thousands. And the exponential growth is going to be in the millions. And that's what why are here on this earth. God, good Lord, put us here, and He expects us to be courteous and kind to one another. And that's what it's all about. None of this war stuff, killing people for metaphors, madness. And I just get extremely engrossed in the positive aspect of helping others. Here, there, and everywhere. There are no strings attached. Remember, be kind, be courteous, and do it with a smile. And we have thanks to the President of the United States that since he took over the presidency, everything is getting better. But we have bad people are trying to take it away. And the metaphor is madness to do anything like that. Because we're here to be courteous and kind. God bless you, now and always. And Ron, I'm going to turn it back over to you because I need to take a little sip of my my coffee again. But I'm standing by, and you jump right in. And when you finish, and I'm going to turn it back over to me, I'm going to tell them all about the Antiva program. Okay? Over to you.
All right. Well, in the meantime, I'm also going to bring Mary Stanley on board. Mary Stanley, I want you to know, is a honorable veteran. She served actually during, I'll call it the 9/11 attack. In that time period, she was in the Army. She was part of the rescue and recovery staff at 9/11 at this site at Ground Zero. And she's a hero for the work that she's done in that area and then helping veterans like herself who, after the event and the horrific reaction to and the actual physical, when you think about it, when those buildings, 9/11 towers, World Trade Towers came down, all the materials that went into the air and the explosion of fires and everything, there was so much stuff in the air that people breathing, the service people, the people that actually managed to escape, and there were some, and that the health conditions of the people who have done that and the mental health of the people who were right on site. I understand completely. I was on my way to the Tower 2 for lunch. I was having lunch with a friend of mine from Long Island Railroad, and John was held up, and I got caught in traffic facing the World Trade Centers and in traffic trying to get back to my hotel. Obviously, when I was watching, listening to the radio, and they were announcing what had happened, I knew about the first plane going in, and then I watched as the second plane went into Tower 2. Horrific moments in my life, and it affects us. It affected Mary. She later on they brought right past my hotel on Passaic Plank Road was the road that the military and the emergency people used to get into New York City through the Lincoln Tunnel to get there to help the continued aftermath of what happened. But those like Mary who were there were recovering, and you can't imagine. Even today, it just stirs my heart and upsets me. And but she was there, and she was in service, and she was a service person with the army, and it affected her in her life. And so she's been great. She's become a great counselor for many of the people that have been affected by that in that day. And so she's a hero. And so, Mary, I just want to recognize you as we're on this weekend of Thanksgiving and gratefulness. I want to express that and just turn the microphone over to you.
Well, I thank you, Ron. You know,
Mary, God bless you. You can jump in anytime you like. You're a doer, a maker, and a happener. Terrific. You're awesome.
thank you, sir. Not only do I help, families with special needs, and veterans overcome trauma and PTSD, but I also work with a lot of families that their children were trafficked or abused. I do a lot of domestic abuse programs as well to help overcome the obstacles that you faced and move on and find your next purpose in life and adjust to living your best life.
Oh, Mary, you're super. Keep up your great work. Tell us more if you would.
So, one of the big things in what I do is I teach you to understand one, how your brain's wired. And the biggest way to overcome a lot of your struggles is just looking at wiring and where your sensory issues are, where your triggers are, and things like that, and how to adjust that wiring and get your brain out of fight or flight response and into just a parasympathetic or just a regular resting space. And it's understanding that these events happen. They made you who you are. And I struggle with a lot of anxiety after my service time, and I've overcome a lot of it. And it's just looking at it that you're not broken. These events made you who you are. Now we just take the emotion aspect out of it and let it go, but still remembering and honoring what you went through. Well, so many of us, we ignore what we're feeling on a regular basis. You know, we live in a society since COVID that it's all about being happy all the time. And if you're not happy all the time, there's something wrong with you. In reality is we feel on average 120 different emotions in a given day. But most of us only name about 15. And we use tools like meditations and prayer, and prayer is great, but we use these as a way to ignore what we're feeling and processing our emotions to be able to let things go. When we don't feel what we're feeling and we ignore it and bury it, that's where we get stuck. And so coming up this January, I'm starting classes to get people to understand that and find the best ways to deal with your emotions, celebrate everything you're feeling. There's no bad emotion. Emotions are all good. It's how you handle those emotions. And one of the things with special needs kids, especially nonverbals or limited verbality, is they get stuck in a loop because they can't express it verbally. And lashing out is a form of communication, and understanding that to get them to trying to understand what they're trying to say to help overcome that issue and getting them to speak and whatever way works.
Ah, blessings. Mary, Stanley, please promise you'll just keep up your good work, helping to make it a better world with
Always,
your
sir.
courtesy and your kindness. Wow. I'll jump back in if it's okay, Mary, but if you want to continue, please do.
You go ahead. It's your show.
Okay, I'll jump back in because it's just a couple of things that I want to offer. And after I finished my Navy career, there was an airline right here in the San Diego area that called and asked me if I would come aboard as an airline captain. I said, wow, I never thought about that, but give it a go. So when I went aboard, they made me an instructor for this organization that had a dozen airline pilots that needed training. So I was in charge of the training of these 12 airline pilots, which after just a couple of weeks or more, they were all qualified and everybody was happy. So what they did, before they were successful, they went down to Texas because that's where the organization was becoming an airline themselves. And our Pacific Southwest Airlines became, down in Texas, the quarter airlines, Southwest Airlines out of Texas. And they're very successful, still going. We've just wonderful feelings that it was successful. And a little story about how our Golden Rule Society charity came about. And this will knock your socks off. But what happened was, one Christmas, I received 2 little shavers. And one came from my mother back in Pennsylvania, but my wife's mother, really. And the other gift came from my wife here in California. So I asked all my buddies, what am I going to do with 2 electric shavers, for crying out loud? And they all told me the same. Len, you shave your face with one and you shave your legs with the other one. What would you expect for a bunch of fly guys? But anyway, I had a bright idea one day on the airplane. I now was flying up and down the West Coast with PSA, Pacific Southwest. Now it's American Airlines. But anyway, I said, I got a good idea. So, ladies and gentlemen, I got something for you. I've got this electric shaver. $25. It's brand new, never been used, and I'm going to swap it with anybody in the back who has something that's of just a little greater value. And we're going to do it all on paper. I mean, I'm going to keep swapping, keep trying to get something of greater value all the way that we took on. Well, the chief pilot heard about it, and he said, oh, you shouldn't be doing that. So he called the owner of the corporation, the airline, who called me and said, way to go, Len, keep it going. That sounds great. So long story short, we raised the value of the swaps that I made, and they gave me a nickname, by the way, the high-flying horse trader. So long story short, we got all the things. They said, okay, that's it. And we gave all the gifts that we had to all of the service people in the San Diego area, all of the charities and churches and everybody that does that sort of thing. And we just said, we have all these gifts. If you want to sell tickets to them, the winners will get the prize and you charities can get the money. Long story short, ladies and gentlemen, that little shaver, we raised enough money, round numbers, $1 million that went to charity. So my good buddy is an attorney, and we were golfers together, and he said, Len, we know that the money all went to charities, but you've got to get yourself a job as the head of a charity called the Golden Rule Society. So we formed it. There it is. We have our charity. And it goes on for, like as they say, 53 years now, helping to make it a better world. And I'm going to offer each and every one of you a little gift. Got your paper and pencil handy. What you do is send me what I call a stamped self-addressed envelope. That means you just send with the stamped self-addressed, and I'm going to give you this gift because it's one of the things we call it the golden dollar. And it's the size of a dollar bill. And on one side is the action plan for living. How to live your life and be successful and enjoyable and be pleasant and all that sort of stuff. And on the other side is the action plan for business. Here's how to be in business. I mean, don't invest in this sort of stuff because you're going to lose your money. But so how to be safe in your business world and how to be safe in your world that you're living in. And it knocks your socks off. And well, I make it available to anybody that wants it. That's the, as a matter of fact, we call it the golden dollar. And of course, my buddies and everybody, they call it the lucky buck. So if you want it, send me a stamped, self-addressed envelope. And I'll make it very easy. Golden Rule Society at P.O. Box 711. Box 711. And that's in Coronado, California. 92119. 92118. And what I do is we send you the copy. It's a gift to you. And most everybody includes a little donation. Maybe $5 or something like that, which is good. It helps us to pay for the printing of all those gifts that are going to help make you a better life. So with that, we're getting close to quitting time. Ladies and gentlemen, remember that the Golden Rule Society, we funded the Intiva Health program, and we have the Intiva Health is now #1 in the world supporting the medical industry. And a friend said, Len, you got to meet down to Texas and meet this guy, Alexander Candelario. So I did. And there he was, medically discharged because he was injured in combat. And there he was going to college. And I said, tell me what you're doing. And he did. And he showed me everything he's doing with the Intiva Health program. And I said, this is incredible. I mean, what a wonderful man. Alexander Candelario. And his assistant that put us together, Mr. Ron, not Ron Quayle, but Jim Kyle. So anyway, that's what he did. And I said, we got to put you into business. So we formed a corporation, his corporation. I was a senior advisor, a director, and all that sort of stuff. It got so busy. Ladies and gentlemen, the growth has been exponential with Intiva Health. And we're now, again, #1 in the world supporting the medical industry. And it's with hospitals, with doctors, nurses, supporters, all the things. And everybody's taking advantage of it. And we're very pleased about that. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, it's getting close to quitting time. So I'm going to say, God bless you. Thank you very much. Again, hope you had a great, great Thanksgiving and pleasant blessings for the Christmas season. Not only the Christmas season, but the new year in 2026. So with that, God bless, take good care, keep smiling, and be kind. And I'm going to say bye-bye for now. Over to you, Ron.
Well, thank you.
Something in.
Thank you so much, Len. And as you were talking about Intiva Health, I want people to know that it's an American company out of Houston, Texas. They have incredible services, medical services available to you. They also are manufacturers. They're an American-made pharmaceutical company that are providing and making materials. They've become the #1 supplier for gummy materials that pharmacies and vitamin companies are using to make swallowable, digestible systems. You get gummy beer, everything today. Well, Intiva is the #1 supplier, and they just are opening up another plant. They've built 2 million square feet, and they're doing this all on American soil. And they're really helping us bring the supply of materials to produce the background for pharmaceuticals to the United States. So if you look them up, they can be of help to you and your family. and we thank Len because he brought this company to us. So thank you again, Len. Mary, have a wonderful weekend, and we'll look forward to seeing you Monday.
Bye for now.
Bye now.
All right. God bless. Bye bye.